Well, hello there, and welcome. Come on into the shop. Come in and have a look at the most recent products that we just got in. And particularly today, we're going to be doing a commentary over a Commander game that I played in. And in this game, I want to draw attention to a little effect that I felt like did a lot more and something that I severely undervalued in the beginning. To start off, for the game, I want to let you guys know that in my starting hand, I had Harvest Guard Alceids, a Forest, Sungrass Prairie, a Simic Growth Chamber, Leaf Crown Dryad, a Transcendent Envoy, and a Noble Quarry. And pay attention to this Noble Quarry, because that's the effect that I'm going to be exemplifying. So then we get into what the start of the game was. So we have myself on Kestia the Cultivator, we got Splashman 007 on Scryfall Morn Progenitor, we got Jill on Varian Voice of Duality, and then we have Bodacious on Ayula Queen Among Bears. Thank you to all these people for letting me record the game. So the first couple turns is nothing extravagant. There's going to be a lot of lands playing, and the goal behind this Kestia deck particularly is that I'm trying to get a lot of enchantment creatures on the battlefield in order to draw a bunch of cards. So as you know, I've added a bit more of the sort of low aggressive types. This is a casual commander game, so I can't do a whole lot of exemplifying specific like min-maxing of trying to get like value out of certain things. But we see in the first turns, everyone just plays a land and passes. There was some scrying from the temples in particular. But then I managed to accelerate because I drew into a Soul Ring. So you see me playing that Soul Ring here, which will allow me to have, in addition to the 2 lands, an additional 2 mana to play my Harvest Guard Alceids, which put in a lot of work throughout this game as a little creature. They are Constellation ability, allows them to stay alive through a lot more than you would usually get out of just a run-of-the-mill creature. Yeah, it's not something that I'm going to claim is like a Commander All-Star, but it's alright. Then from Jill, we get some acceleration through an Arcane Signet, which is just a mana rock that's going to be adding some mana. Bo ends up playing a pair of Swiftfoot Boots, because it's a very Commander-centric deck, in order to get some extra protection for Ayula. I'm still over here accelerating beautifully, and I draw into Enchantress's Presence, which is going to give me so much extra value in this game. And you're going to see on a turn that's very crazy later on that allows things to just pop off. Through that Protection Clause, I'm able to swing at anybody, and I choose to take a little bit of a hit at Varian, because Varian Voice of Duality can be very, very scary, but maybe that hit did me in a little bit. Splashman plays a little vampire man called Brackish Air, which is just going to be a little bit of a vampire to get that sort of tribal synergy going, but doesn't do a whole lot particularly for the sake of the game. Jill is able to play out another mana rock with the Talisman of Creativity to then accelerate into playing Varian Voice of Duality, and next turn, assuming Jill just plays a land, we'll have access to 6 mana, and that is quite scary, especially with a commander that can get so large. But I wasn't really thinking about it. I don't think I drew aggro yet, but little do I know, I did. Bodacious is going to be playing Ayula Queen Among Bears, getting their commander online, and then equipping with the Swiftfoot Boots for that sense of protection. And so far, everyone's just doing very middle-of-the-road things. Everyone's playing their things, getting it happening. And, you know, it's a game of Commander, so we're all just playing things and having fun. I, having access to the 6 mana necessary, bestow Kestia the Cultivator to my Harvest Guard Alceids. Alceids will protect themselves, and now they are a large 6/7 creature that protects itself from damage and is also able to draw me cards whenever it attacks. At the end of this turn, I still have 7 cards in hand, even after playing so many, so I feel very well off with where I am. Splashman 007 plays a Knight's Whisper in order to draw 2 new cards. And just leaves it like that, not getting a whole lot of action on that side of the board, which is unfortunate. Jill pops off with an Expressive Iteration, a very strong card, getting access to essentially 2 new cards from this turn. And among one of those cards gets access to their land drop of an island for the turn. And that's notably Stormcount 1, buffing Varian to being a 4/4 already. So Varian's going to become very big this turn. Using the Talisman for red, they cast a Faithless Looting in order to draw 2 new cards, and then discard 2 of the cards that they drew. Nothing of super note from them, but it was a Dramatic Reversal and Rutha. Then, Jill follows up with a Seething Song. That Seething Song gives access to 5 more mana for the turn, which leads into an Empty the Warrens. Empty the Warrens has a very large storm count at this turn, making Varen a 16/16 by the end of this. And little did I know, that little hit from earlier, I don't know what it was, but Jill says, like, I'm banned, so I have some life gain, and I'm like, you're not wrong, but I get smacked by 16 from Varen. So I'm already down to 22 and 16 commander damage, so I'm very worried. And even after that, Jill only has 3 cards in hand, but there is still 8 goblins on the battlefield that are pretty scary. Bo is not having any luck, similar to Splashman, so Bodacious plays a 3/3, a 3-cost Dragon Scarred Bear, and things just pass over to me. So I'm over here worried about the hit that I just got done with, so I'm going to try to take care of those goblins to the best of my ability. I lead off with Transcendent Envoy, and then I bestow Noble Quarry. This Noble Quarry is going to be putting in the work this game, so pay attention to it. Draw off my Enchantress's Presence. The Noble Quarry makes our Harvest Guard Elcids a 7/8 that just eats up 7 of the goblins off of Jill's side of the board. Because all the creatures have to guard whatever the quarry is put onto, that's 7 golems that just got eaten up, which is more or less a board wipe on one side of the board, but I didn't use any additional resources to still have access to everything. Splashman plays Strafan and gets a little bit of an attack in order to beef it up, gets a blood token from Strafan's ability, but not getting a whole lot of gas happening. And Jill is very frightened about what's going on right now, which had the previous explosive turn. At this point, Jill now plays a Blasphemous Act in order to wipe the board. And I think this is a pretty reasonable play, especially since Jill is very low on cards, but it doesn't necessarily get Jill back into the game. Because, as you might know, after this, Jill has like 2 cards in hand after playing the land drop for the turn, and my bestow creatures fall off of the creature they were enchanting. So when they're no longer an aura enchantment attached to a creature, they just become creatures again. So I'm still left with a board state after this Blasphemous Act, which is very cool. Jill recasts Varen in order to get on the board, but this Noble Quarry is going to have other things in line. Bo needs to get some card advantage going, so Bodacious plays the Beast Whisperer in order to get some card draw. And then things pass over to me, and I'm about to pop off with this Enchantress's Presence. This continuous source of card advantage has been very key, in addition to the Kestia that I have. I end up playing my Leaf Crown Dryad in order to bestow on the Noble Quarry in order to make it a 3/3, so I can then attack Noble Quarry to kill Varen, because Varen has to block. So Varen just can't be on the board anymore as long as this Noble Quarry is on the battlefield, which is very scary. Kestia's getting some commander damage on Bo, I draw some more cards, and I play an Arasta of the Endless Webs as just another enchantment creature on the battlefield. Splashman over here is still just kind of playing creatures and plays a Malakir Blood Witch. Drain some life, gain some life. It's a 4/4, and it's a creature on the battlefield that's kind of chilling there. And Jill straight up passes through her turn with just 2 cards in hand, no gas. Very, very unfortunate. There was a Faithless Looting in the graveyard that could have been flashed back, so I think that's a little bit of an oversight, but overall, Jill's not doing too great. Bodacious is also just trying to get card advantage flowing with a Harmonize, notably missing land drops, and I feel like I'm just in the driver's seat. So this game, people are having mana troubles, having card advantage troubles. It's not like, I'm not saying Kestia is the next, broken thing, but enchanting the Sightless Brawler onto Noble Quarry makes it a 6/5 now. A 6/5 that forces things to block it. So, guess what creature's not sticking around anymore? Probably should have killed the Beast Whisperer with this, which would have been very good, but I didn't feel like hitting Bo, who has already been listing lands, so I killed the Malakir Blood Witch. And at this point, it's just like, I'm just playing enchantment creature after enchantment creature, getting card draw, getting value, and this Noble Quarry is cleaning up any threats that come my way. And it is very, very nice. Splashman plays a very scary creature at this point, a Nurkana Revenant. This Nurkana Revenant can add a lot of mana potentially for the next turn, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, I have this Noble Quarry, I'm just going to be able to kill it, I'm not really worried about anything happening. We pass to Jill, who has a very sad play, one of the saddest plays I think I've ever seen. A Fiery Encore for 1, discarding an island to draw a card. 5 mana looting, guys. 5 mana looting. Gotta love it. And draws into a mountain. Just absolutely wrecked. No value. Now, Bo, on this turn, is trying to do a lot of impactful things. Notably leaving with a Lurin. So I want to pause for a bit of this Lurin effect so you guys can understand why the next plays happen. Because we don't have mana, but a lot of cards get played. So Lurin, as being shown here, is 4 mana enchantment that allows any creature that costs 3 or less to be played at instant speed and without spending mana. And with the Beast Whisperer that Bo has, Bo is able to chain off, play a creature, draw a card, 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 and is able to draw into the land that they needed in order to equip their Circle of Dreams Druid with Swiftfoot Boots, giving it haste to allow 5 more mana to be added in order to be able to cast Ayula, Queen Among Bears from the command zone again, and then be able to cast a Life Crafter Bestiary. So Bo, on this turn with Lurin, has managed to set up a lot of good things. Just a lot of creatures flooded the board, got back into the game, everything is looking great for Bo. But Lurin is a symmetrical effect. So in response to Bo's end step, I also get to play an enchantment creature, draw a card off of my presence, play an enchantment creature, draw another card, play an enchantment creature, draw another card, and I go off for a while, making my board very big, very scary, and these are all just creatures that I'm basically playing at this point, so I'm not pulling them up individually. Their specific stats don't really matter for the flow of the game that happens after this, but I play a lot of them. So I've played a Daxos, Skull of Grove Dancer, an Ixalis Ram, an Ix Herald, and I play Boon Satyr, just popping off on Bo's end step. So this is before my turn, where I am then able to play Beastmaster's Ascension. And this card takes out both Bo and Jill due to its effect. So Beastmaster's Ascension, due to all the creatures that I now have that I flashed in on the end of Bo's turn, is going to be able to give all of my creatures +5/+5 to become incredibly lethal. And Bo, notably, has all of these different blockers up. So Bo could have blocked in a strategic way to avoid a bunch of damage, because my Beastmaster's Ascension does not grant trample. However, Noble Quarry going at Bo forces all of Bo's creatures to block it, so then all the other damage is just able to go through. So this lure effect off of Noble Quarry that has just been sniping off creatures is also enabling lethal on one of the current threats on the board. Before damage, due to all my draws off of Kestia, I'm just flashing in more and more creatures. I'm gaining life, drawing cards, getting more creatures, gaining life, drawing cards, due to Lurin still being on the battlefield. Absolutely crazy. So, Bo dies, Jill dies, but then Splashman 007 just was sitting in the backseat this whole time, plays a Mob Rule. And this Mob Rule takes control of all of my creatures, ends the game, kills me, I'm done. So, Splashman 007, congratulations. But I want to draw to the power of Noble Quarry, being able to just make combat and board presences so hard for people that don't just swarm the board with stuff, or with ways to interact with the quarry. So that's the sort of MVP that I wanted to bring to attention in this game. So, thank you for watching this video, and if you'd be so inclined, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel. It'd be very much appreciated, just trying to get things started. And in the comments below, if you would think of anything that I should do different in terms of commentary, in terms of game editing. I took an hour-long game and reduced it down to basically 10 minutes. Leave any of that in the comments. I'm not planning to only do this for Commander gameplay. I would like to be able to get more technical about plays, so I'll probably do a couple 1v1 formats. And they won't all be Magic the Gathering either. I have a Shadowverse commentary coming up that I'm planning on doing. So I'll be looking for those tips in the comments next time. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, I wish you well and take care.